In a dramatic shift within Israeli leadership, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu finds himself at odds with military and security chiefs over Iran. Once a strong advocate for military action against Tehran, Netanyahu has taken a more cautious approach, while Israeli generals are pushing for a decisive strike in response to recent Houthi missile attacks. Tensions escalated when Mossad suggested directly targeting Iran, signaling a strategic pivot. As the debate intensifies, former Prime Minister Ehud Barak cautions that an Israeli strike on Iran's nuclear program could have limited effectiveness, underscoring the complexities of the geopolitical landscape. In this episode, we'll explore the consequences of this shift and what it means for the future of the Middle East. I'm Henny Saif, and let's get in depth. The Times of Israel has reported that Benny Gantz, former defense minister and leader of Israel's National Unity Party, emphasized that Israel must target Iran directly to halt growing threat from Iranian proxies like the Houthis. Gantz argued that addressing the root cause in Tehran is essential and that failure to act would be a historic strategic mistake. Security officials reportedly agree with Mossad chief David Barnea, stressing that the need to strike Iran rather than just the Houthis is essential. Reports suggest Iran believes Israel may soon launch a direct attack, especially after Israel's ceasefire with Hezbollah. Gantz also discussed the ongoing detainee negotiations and criticized the government for not replacing Hamas in Gaza, despite existing plans in the defense establishment. Al-Sharq al-Awsat has reported that Netanyahu ordered the Israeli military to destroy the infrastructure of Houthi militias in Yemen after they launched missiles at Israel last week. In a statement to lawmakers, Netanyahu vowed that anyone who threatens Israel would face a powerful response. The Israeli military later confirmed that a missile launched from Yemen was intercepted before reaching Israeli territory, with no casualties reported. The Houthis have previously targeted Israel in solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. And as tensions escalate in the Middle East, a significant rift emerges within Israeli leadership of Iran. Prime Minister Netanyahu is adopting a cautious approach, while military chiefs advocate for decisive action. Today, we're joined by Dr. Abdel Nasser Mikki, a political science professor from occupied Jerusalem, and we're also joined by Major General Habis Shuroof, a strategic expert from Ramallah, to explore the implications of this divide amid ongoing conflicts in Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria. Gentlemen, welcome to In Depth. I'll start off with you, Professor Mikki, first. Now, what are the specific goals of Netanyahu's far-right cabinet concerning the military actions against Iran and its allies?
About Iran, I think Netanyahu will be cautious more than before, because as you know, in 2010, Netanyahu was attendant and he was willing to even attack Iran in that time. And the Prime Minister, the Minister of Defense was in that time Ehud Barak. But in this time, I think Netanyahu is hesitated to attack Iran, because as you know, he opened like a front on Lebanon, and there is attacking and also over control Quneitra in Syria, and also the front of Gaza and the West Bank. So he is more cautious in this matter. And he is waiting for the Trump, you know, that when he come to the White House in 20 of next month. And I think he will depend on Trump, because I think Trump will have another, you know, that's even point of view and opinion about how can he dealing with Tehran. And as you know, Trump before was against the agreement 6+1. But in his, you know, that's previous administration. But now I think Trump, as he said before, he will change and he will, I think, make it peace. Especially, he will concentrate it on America and the USA economy. And according to his plan, even for Russia and Ukrainian war, and also between Taiwan and China, I think he will more calm, and he will focusing on his internal issues in the United States of America. So Netanyahu will be, I don't think that Netanyahu will attack Iran, while there are the extreme of the ministries in the cabinet. They want to attack Iran, but Netanyahu is preventing, and he is hesitated to attack Tehran now.
Mm-hmm. General Sharuf, now, how do you interpret the recent shift in Netanyahu's stance towards Iran, especially given his previous calls for military action?
Greetings to you and your viewers. In fact, Netanyahu, ever since the war started, Netanyahu and the United States, in fact, wanted to target all arms of Iran, starting from Hezbollah to Hamas to the Houthis to Iraq and Syria, or Assyria. And so Netanyahu, right now, after the halting of the war in Lebanon and after what's happened in Syria, he finds that he has a golden opportunity now to strike Iran. The Israeli occupation forces, in fact, wants Netanyahu to target Iran and not really the Houthis. But from a logistical perspective, this is difficult to do. If Netanyahu wanted to strike Iran, he will require regional cooperation, and he will need the United States to be on board with him. And the United States right now is not interested in opening or launching another war with Iran. And so the international community and the United States, I do not believe that they are interested in waging a new regional war, because the losses of this war are going to have negative repercussions on the entire world at large and on the Middle East and the Arab Gulf region specifically. And so I believe that the American nuclear agreement is going to be replicated. And right now, Iran cannot or does not have the capacity to manufacture nuclear arms. And so it can be easily targeted. But in fact, something like that requires Israel to use advanced warplanes to target Iran or to strike nuclear targets in Iran. And I believe that this is not really possible for Israel right now, because it is suffering from great financial losses after its engagement in a lot of wars recently in the region.
Mm-hmm. Professor Mickey, how significant is the role of the U.S. in shaping and dictating Israel's military response to Iran? And do you think that it might change or differ when Trump takes office?
You mean that the United States of America will change when Trump is coming to the administration to attack Iran, or the opposite?
Mm-hmm. Do you think they will be with the same Israeli response right now?
Yes, I think the Trump, as I told you before, Trump will not go to any war after, that he will be in the White House. I think Trump is not the person that everybody or think that he will come in order to make a war, especially in his previous, administration before, he didn't make any war. So I think Trump is going to make it calm, and also maybe he try to make consensus and also compromise even between Iran and also Israel, because that Trump and Netanyahu will focusing on the, as you know, the Abraham agreement, and also in the how to say about Netanyahu to normalization with Saudi Arabia and the other. So I don't think that he will go to attack Iran, and also the American administration will be busy with another issue. And this is my opinion, is that he will not go to attack Iran. And I think they will make contentment with Iran. They will try to make it between the USA and Iran in order to continue the agreement 6+1, maybe with some change in this agreement.
General Sharuf, how has Prime Minister Netanyahu's military strategy evolved regarding Iran in light of the recent escalations in the region as a whole?
In fact, Netanyahu always wants to prove to the Israeli society that there is an existential war being waged against Israel, and he has succeeded in that. And he has mobilized all the parties and sects in Israel revolve around Netanyahu and back up his policies. The other thing is that Netanyahu requires Iran or considers Iran the axis of evil in the region. And for that matter, Netanyahu keeps on mobilizing all forces in order for him to have backup from the West and the United States in order to strike Iran, because Israel knows very well, and Netanyahu knows very well, that if Iran obtained a nuclear dome, then Israel will no longer be the strongest nuclear power in the region. On the other hand, Netanyahu wants to evade all his accusations, corruption accusations, and the criminal accusations imposed on him from the ICC. And for that matter, Netanyahu wants to prioritize striking Iran, and he is not leaving a stone unturned when it comes to convincing the West and the United States to prevent Iran from obtaining nuclear dome bombs. And so Israel and Netanyahu specifically wants to involve the entire region into an all-out war. In fact, Trump, according to his recent statements, he wants to terminate the wars in the Middle East. And for that matter, I believe some kind of consensual agreements are going to be brokered by the states in order for peace or relative peace to prevail in the region. And of course, if Israel decides to strike Iran and the Houthis, of course, an all-out war in the region is going to erupt. But still, then again, Israel is suffering from great financial losses because of the war that's been going on for a year and 4 months right now in Palestine. Israel was able to demolish the Hamas infrastructure and all that. That's correct. But still, Netanyahu is suffering from great financial loss in his government. And for that matter, he keeps on mobilizing the sects of the Israeli society by convincing all sects and extremist parties in Israel that there is an existential war being waged against Israel and that they have to work as one man.
Dr. Mekki, how might a potential Israeli strike on Iran affect the ongoing conflicts in Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria? Dr. Mekki, can you hear me, sir?
The Israeli, you mean that if the Israeli had the potential to attack Iran?
Yes, a possible Israeli attack on Iran, how might it affect the ongoing conflicts in Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria?
Yes, I think it will be, look, this is one possibility, but it's not the big possibility. It is less possibility than before because now Netanyahu, as you know, he is busy with many files, with many agendas.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will continue our discussion with my esteemed guests, but before we do so, let's take a moment to watch a report on the rising tensions with Israel's leadership, and we'll be right back.
Recent developments in Israel reveal a significant shift in the dynamics between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and military leaders regarding Iran. Historically, Netanyahu has been a staunch advocate for military action against Iran, especially since 2010. However, recent events indicate a more cautious approach on his part, juxtaposed with an increasing eagerness from military leaders to strike Iran. This change became evident after Yemen's Houthi forces launched ballistic missiles targeting Israeli cities, prompting intense discussions in Tel Aviv about an appropriate response. Netanyahu and his ministers have threatened the Houthis while attempting to persuade the U.S. administration to support a coordinated military strike against both the Houthis and Iranian positions in Yemen and Iran itself. Reports suggest that Mossad has advised Netanyahu that attacking Iran is now a vital issue given the current circumstances. Despite his previous calls for aggressive action, Netanyahu appears hesitant, while security chiefs are advocating for targeting Iran in retaliation for Houthi attacks. Mossad chief David Barnea conveyed to Netanyahu the consensus among security heads, recommending against direct retaliation against the Houthis and instead focusing on Iran. He emphasized that merely attacking the Houthis would have limited impact, suggesting that the strike should be aimed at Iran's core. This evolving situation underscores a complex interplay of internal and external pressures shaping Israel's military strategy in the region. This evolving relation between political leadership and military command highlights the complexities of Israel's security landscape, where internal disagreements may influence broader regional stability and security.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen, to our discussion with my guests. Now, General Sharoof, in what ways could Netanyahu's cautious approach impact Israel's deterrence strategy against Iran?
I believe that Netanyahu right now was able to exclude the front or he was able to neutralize the Syrian and the Lebanese and the Gaza fronts. And what he has remaining right now is the Houthis. I believe that he is engaged right now either in a prolonged attrition war with the Houthis. And I believe as well that Netanyahu is going to resort to the United States in order for the states to impose economic sanctions on Iran and to prevent Iran from importing uranium to manufacture nuclear dome bomb. In fact, as well, by dint of an agreement, Iran is actually banned from manufacturing a nuclear dome bomb. And so he has confidence that Iran is not going to manufacture these bombs because of this agreement and because of the United States support. We as well know that wide-range missiles, they can create destruction, but they cannot, in fact, help Israel colonize Iran through these missiles. And as well, there is a major distance between Iran and Israel, and so Israel will never be able to colonize any part of Iran. And I believe that Iran is not at all interested in getting in a war with Iran or the United States. Iran wants to maintain its nation state in the Middle East and to maintain its influence in the Middle East. And, you know, the government in Iran is purely pragmatic. All they care about is to preserve their state and their resources and to maintain the running regime in Iran. Because if this regime failed, the system that they built ever since the year 1980 will be destroyed. And so I believe that Iran is going to have a tendency to engage in instruments and agreements regarding its nuclear armament.
Mm-hmm. Professor Meki, what role does the U.S. support play in shaping Netanyahu's military decisions, particularly regarding strikes on Iranian targets? Whose voice is louder, the U.S. or Mossad?
Yes, as you know, from your report, as you know, now the Mossad chief, Burnham, is, told Netanyahu to attack Iran. Now it is the opportunity and the chance to Israel to attack Iran after the collapse of the regime in Syria and also after the South Lebanon and after Gaza. But as the report said, and I told you that Netanyahu is hesitated because now Netanyahu is busy with many agenda and fights, especially his internal issues and also especially in Gaza. Until now, he didn't finish, as he said, the victory in Gaza and also in South Lebanon. Now they are waiting for the Lebanon army to go there in the South Lebanon, and also what's happening in Syria. And also Trump is not willing to attack until now. He has no any plan to even participate with Israel to attack Iran. They want to see what the regime will make after the war in Gaza or Lebanon or Syria and after the collapse of regime of Syria. So I think if there will be a strike between if there will be anything, I think just Trump administration will make sanction against Iran, and more, that's pressure and impose more sanction against Iran. Just this is, I think, the way not to attack Iran. And because, as you know, even if there will be like attacking Iran from the Israel, there will be a regional war. And this is not,
yes. Well, General Sharuf, how are Hezbollah and Hamas likely to respond to Israel's military posture against Iran?
I think, in my calibration, and quite frankly, that what the reality is proving is that Hamas doesn't have any military capacity, and or since 70% of its military capacity was destroyed in Gaza. And I believe as well that Hezbollah doesn't have enough military capacity to fight back, specifically after the assassination of most of its frontline leaders. And Hezbollah has implicitly admitted that that the dialogue subject, they handed it over to the Lebanese government. And I believe Hezbollah will not be interested in getting into a new war after its experience in Lebanon and after the Dahia was demolished. And in fact, I believe that Hezbollah, with its new leadership, is not going to take this risk. Specifically, that the Syrian front right now is closed off to them. And so the opposition parties as well in Lebanon do not want to get into a war with Israel in favor of any regional party. The situation right now is so different.
Yes, Dr. Abdel Nasser Miki, a political science professor, and Major General Habis Al-Shuroof, the strategic expert. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your insights. As we navigate the complexities of the Israeli military strategy and the growing rift within its leadership around Iran, understanding these dynamics is crucial. The implications for regional stability and security remain significant, shaping the future of the Middle East in profound ways. And by this we come to the end of today's episode of In Depth. Thank you very much for watching and stay tuned for more updates here on Q News.